Good afternoon. My name is Chris Hutton with Youth Pledge for Employers, and I'm delighted to be joined by Stuart Double, the Managing Director of DQ Heating. Hello there, Stuart.
Oh, hello, Chris.
Hey, thanks for giving up your time to speak to me this afternoon. And I guess my first question really is to be, can you tell me about DQ Heating and what it is you do?
Yeah, we're a designer, radiator and towel rail distribution company based in Thetford in Norfolk. We supply our products predominantly not to the end users, so through merchants and showrooms and websites to sell our products online. So we distribute our products all over the UK. We've been going for about 20 years or just over 20 years. Started off with just some basic standard sort of towel rails and it's kind of progressed from there.
Fantastic. And was that your background? Was this an industry you were working in beforehand, or was the company, as I say, sort of something new to you?
No, it's something completely new. I'm from an engineering background, done an engineering apprenticeship originally, and just kind of ended up, there was an opportunity doing basic ladder rails and things like that for a start, and kind of it's transpired from there really. So it's just kind of built up over that time period.
And you touched on some of the various different things that DQ Heating does there. What kind of people and roles do you have within the organisation to facilitate all of those different parts of the organisation?
Well, it's really varied, and that's why it's quite hard for us to recruit from outside, because we generally don't find people with any real knowledge of our industry or products. So everything is very varied. Some of it, because we now it's kind of moved on from just distribution, so we have a powder coating plant installed. We have packaging machines and things like that. So it's kind of moved into semi sort of production stroke manufacturing to some degree as well. So it's really changed over the years, which means that our where we pick staff from has really changed as well. But still the skill set is quite difficult to find anyone with any prior knowledge or any history of the type of products that we sell. So generally we're looking for people that have quite innovative and willing to learn new processes, new ideas, and from that perspective, it's very different to maybe the norm, I suppose.
And we'll go on to touch on in a minute about sort of, as you say, about sort of the kind of traits someone might need to work for an organisation. But if we look at people already working in the organisation, literally, like, what kind of teams and departments do you have to facilitate all of the things that the company is doing on a daily basis?
We have people that are involved in sales. We have accounts department. We have people that with a bit more of a production-based background as well. Add sales admin and people in our powder coating plant that have got some basic sort of engineering backgrounds as well. So and again, warehousing staff as well, which is incorporated within that. So it's not necessarily people that always come with a particular skill set, but we've got quite a lot of varied backgrounds with regards to what people that we've got here, including people from construction backgrounds and things like that as well. So
a lot of diversity within the workforce you've got there.
Yes, we have really. I mean, that comes mainly down to the fact that, within the immediate industry we're in, there's very limited knowledge. So we have to draw from other industries to sort of facilitate it as best we can. I think for us, that variety is really good for balance through our company as well, to look at different options moving forward and to give us the best skill set all round, which has really benefited us in the past, and obviously something that we're looking to continue with.
And just so I can give people sort of watching this video an idea of sort of the whole process in terms of, can you give an example? And I'm not asking you to give away any names or anything, but if you've got a customer of yours who sort of places an order, what kind of things are placing orders for, and sort of what's the process? How does that go through the organisation, if you see what I mean, from, as I say, them placing the order to it being installed?
Well, yeah, I mean, all of our customers are account customers for a start, so they're all people that we generally have a relationship with in some capacity. So they would place an order, we would process the order in the office. If it's a stock product, it would get generally goes out for next day delivery, so it would go through the process inside in the office. then it would get picked and packed and shipped on the same day through the warehouse. As well as that, we also have special order products which are ordered from manufacturers around Europe, and we also have products that go through our powder coating facility with stock products that are finished to the customer's requirements and then dispatched within 7 to 10 working days. So that goes through a different manufacturing process, but then gets shipped and packed in the same manner.
That's really interesting, and thanks for that, because I know it's never easy to sort of concisely talk about the process and distribution lines, but you made that really simple that even I could follow, which I'm grateful for. And if we go on to talk, as I say, about, you mentioned obviously about difficult to find staff with the with the technical knowledge. So you are, as you say, you're looking more at those core and soft skills, because as you say, you can teach the technical knowledge, you can train someone up and that. You mentioned about people, showing innovation. What other kinds of sort of soft skills or personality traits, serve them well before you actually get to teach them the technical know-how?
Yeah, well, there was obviously a little bit of a split from office to the warehouse and the production side of it, but it's in the office we're looking for someone that's a good communicator, that can communicate on the phone, on emails especially, and also have a decent knowledge of things like Excel and fairly basic computer skills, I suppose, these days. We obviously have our own computer system for being able to process and control our whole stock and the work processing around all the orders, but that's basically built for us, so that comes with in-house training. And it's in the warehouse and in the production aspects, it's someone that's reliable, someone that's got a good attention to detail. Again, communication is key. We're a relatively small team, so it's massively important for us that not only people get on, but people communicate in the right way, and that we can all work together in a safe environment as well. And that's really important both ways as well.
You mentioned the differences there, as you say, between the office environment and the warehouse environment. And I will prefix this next question by saying I know there's no such thing as a typical day, whether such thing doesn't exist. But if we were to say, in the office and in the warehouse, what do the good days look like, and what do the challenging days look like?
Yeah, that's more to do with volume of work, I think, more than anything else, which is probably the hardest part because we have very little control over it. The way that, especially processing orders for next day delivery, we take orders up to 3 o'clock that day. So we never really know. We obviously have seasonal periods throughout the year and times when we're busier and throughout that period as well. But we never really know 100% on the workflow for that day. It's a little bit simpler in some of the production aspects because we have a bit more control over it. But that's still dependent on how goods arrive to us from manufacturers, which again, we have very little control over. So I think it's just that it does fluctuate quite massively from a quite calm, relaxed day to pretty chaotic, especially afternoons on the dispatch side, more than anything else, I suppose. And people try to be able to work in that environment is key for us as well. People that can remain calm in those situations, and that people that are consistent, I suppose, which enables us to manage it the best we can.
And you spoke earlier about sort of how you've had people within your organisation from construction backgrounds, and sort of you touched on it there about almost about the need for transferable skills. As you say, maybe you might have someone who, as I say, has got experience in a deadline-driven role in another, in another sector, and as I say, how that skill could be transferred to sort of your sector and your organisation. Do you find that with that amongst your staff, that actually they've got a diverse range of experiences where they bring, as I say, sort of transferable skills like that into your organisation?
Yeah, we do. I mean, it's really important for us that all our staff are multi-skilled, to give us the flexibility and to give a bit of variety in everyday work as well for them. It's obviously not always the most efficient way during busy times, because you do find people have obviously their areas that they're particularly strong in. So they tend to click into place and tend to be the roles that they fulfill on a day-to-day basis, I suppose. But the variety is definitely good and gives us a greater deal of security as well, with our staffing levels and being able to cope with fluctuating workloads on a day-to-day basis.
That's really interesting, and it leads me quite nicely onto my final question, actually, which is, and I've asked this to all the employers I've spoken to do it, and you told me a little bit about your background, at the start of this chat, and I've asked this to all the employers I've spoken to, which is, if you could go back and speak to say 17, 18-year-olds do it, and taking into account sort of maybe mistakes you might have made, successes you've had, things you've observed through your career, what would be the one piece of career advice you would give to your younger self?
Probably to be bolder with some of the choices I would have made and trust my instincts more at times. I think that sometimes your decision making is clouded by being a little bit fearful of making the wrong decision, and ultimately I think what is the right decision more often than not, and I think I'd definitely probably be a little bit more decisive if I was to go back and do it again.